We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
With global pals, it's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about...
Everything theater. Hi there, I'm Benita Zahn.
And I am Ellen Cribbs, and we're going to start off this episode. We're going to be talking about the Tonys today, but before we get to that, if you're in the 518 area, there's a fantastic play coming up you got to check out. It's the Mother Effer with the hat. It is a Harbinger production, and it's going to be at Albany Civic Theater, directed by Brian Sheldon. It is running, there's a free preview on this 15th, and there's a talkback on the 16th and 23rd. The full show runs the 16th through the 25th. It's a play about addiction, love, friendship, growing up, and misplaced haberdashery. So check it out. It's going to be fantastic. They always do great work, and there's a lot of fantastic people behind this production.
And how exciting, because some of that collective did Dig recently.
Yes.
By Teresa Rebeck, I pronounced that wrong, Rebeck. And now it's going to be at the Dorset Theater Festival.
Oh, fantastic.
So really, it was for Harbinger, for the Sam Lake Center for the Arts. There's this lovely collaboration, and we get to see stuff that's really ahead of the curve. So if you missed it, go head out to the Dorset Theater Festival. But my point being, you don't want to miss the with a hat that's now going to be playing.
And today we are meeting with our wonderful friend Adam Dermer. He's been here this year, third time on the show?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm already booking you for next year, Adam.
Yes, we are.
Okay, great.
It's funny. I was looking at our stats on YouTube of how many people watch our video, because all of our episodes are on YouTube. If you didn't know, if you're listening and thinking, I'd rather watch these people if you want to see our lovely faces. Your episodes are by far the most watched of all our shows. You're our celebrity on the show.
Who knew? At least I reached celebrity status somewhere.
You can put that on your website now.
Yes, perfect.
So yeah,
thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be back.
Oh, we love having you, Adam, and you are definitely our inside source. I say this year I've seen very little that's been nominated, so I can't add much to the conversation.
I have to laugh. I feel like I saw a ton of theater the last year, but with very little exception, like none of them that have been nominated.
Yeah.
We also spend, as you know, I'm a very big fan of seeing stuff that's just off Broadway, some things that are up and coming. So what is it? Playwrights Horizon has got my heart for the performances and what they're doing there, but that doesn't make this list. We're talking, of course, the list of the Tonys, and that's where Adam's going to be our guide through all things potentially winning.
Well, I will say off-Broadway, the thing that if I could throw anything into the nomination list, the best off-Broadway thing I saw this season was The Case for the Existence of God. I don't know if you got to see that, but it was spectacular.
No, I saw Downstate. I saw a number of things, but Downstate at Playwrights Horizon, which I did see something coming, I'll say that, but it was breathtaking and it was heart-stopping in terms of the searing quality of the show and the quality of the performances.
Great. I missed that, but I've heard such amazing things about it.
That's the thing. We always celebrate the Tonys, it's a big celebration, but there is so much good theater that doesn't even, they can't even be eligible.
Exactly.
So why don't we get started? You want to start with Best Play?
Sure.
And on that list is Ain't No Mo, between Riverside and Crazy, Cost of Living, Fat Ham, and Leopoldstadt, which I so wanted to see. And I have friends who did see it and said, it was very troubling. They found it difficult to sit through. And that is Variety puts that show as the front runner. What do you think, Adam?
So for Best Play, I will say this year's Tonys, this is the first year in a long time where I truly don't have any clue what's going to happen all around in for a lot of categories. There's a lot of really great stuff. It's all very different, but also I think as theaters are coming out of COVID still, this year is still it's been a strange season. Um, Trying to see like what rules still apply, and honestly, I don't think a lot of them do. So that being said, best play, I think Leopoldstadt is going to take it away, only because it's done very well. It's been running for a long time. I thought it was a very good play. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes with no intermission, which is rough for some audiences. Um, it was good. It felt a little bit like I was watching a series on PBS. So there was I missed a little bit of excitement from it, but the final scene is truly spectacular and beautiful. Um, if I had to pick in this category, I would absolutely give best play to Fat Ham. I think it is a wonderful play. As someone who loves Shakespeare, Ellen, I know you feel the same way as well. Knowing Hamlet and seeing the pieces of it they threw in there, but also making it so contemporary for this specific family in their backyard was brilliant. It there's a reason it won the Pulitzer too. It's spectacular. So I would love for a surprise and have that win, but I have a feeling Leopoldstadt, just based on traditional Tonys voters and rules, will be the winner.
How about best musical? We've got And Juliet, which actually started slow. You know, the initial word was, and then boy, talk about picking up steam. We've also got Kimberly Akimbo, New York, New York, Shucked, and Some Like It Hot. And Variety is going with Kimberly Akimbo. Did you see any of those, Ellen?
I have tickets coming up to see some of them, but yeah, unfortunately, I did not make it to any of them yet.
I saw Some Like It Hot, and can I just go? So, Adam, take it away.
Some Like It Hot, same thing. That breath of a big jazzy old school musical again, but with a contemporary lens. So the book was great, the score is great, the direction was great. There was, I don't want to ruin any things, but there was one particular moment that just showed me that the director understood exactly what he was doing to tell this character's story. So that being said, I think it was great. It has potential to win, but I think the major quiet front runner is Kimberly Akimbo. It's just a really beautiful, simple human story, a great score. The play before it was a musical was already so good, and this just really expanded on it in a really excellent way, I think. Um, the first time I saw Kimberly, I've actually seen it twice. The first time I saw it, I was like, okay, that was good. And the second time, it just triggered me, and I was so connected to the story. So I think it's going to be the front runner.
I think musical revival is fascinating.
I think this is the harder category this year, right? Like there's some
Yeah,
really strong contenders in this list.
yeah. None of them are bad. I mean, they are all very good productions. Um, you can always pick apart things here and there, but I think this is the most exciting category because you have four shows: Into the Woods, Camelot, Parade, and Sweeney Todd, that are all successful and really, really well done.
So, and the winner is in your book.
I think Parade, I think as an overall package, it is it just exceeds the others a little bit more. Um, I also think because of its past on Broadway, bringing it back when they did, and all the news behind it and so forth, has really helped elevate the storytelling, and the actors are doing such a beautiful job. Um, I, I think it's got the overall best package. Like I said, Sweeney Todd is really good, but it just didn't give me the same feels. Into the Woods, also very good, but production, it's very simply directed. It's very straightforward. Camelot, I saw the other night, and it is beautiful. Anything at the Beaumont is always beautiful because of scope and scale. Um, but because they made a lot of changes to the book, Andrew Sorkin redid the book. They're not bad. They're just very different, and it was some storytelling was a little unexpected, and I found myself at intermission having to look up a synopsis, which I've never seen Camelot. So that being said, maybe I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I was a little lost.
Oh, it should be
Interesting.
straightforward. I mean, power, love triangle.
It should be.
I'm pretty
There were
musical.
a couple questions.
And for the record, variety is picking Into the Woods.
See, that's
Yeah,
the
this
one,
is
that I've actually seen of this whole list. I've got tickets again for Parade, Sweeney Todd coming up, but and Camelot, but yeah, it was a beautiful production. But I understand what you're saying, Adam, that like it is kind of bare bones simplistic, and that works so beautifully for it. But I wonder for the grandeur of the Tonys if it's going to go to a play as politically important and timely as Parade.
Let me just ask, does the Sondheim factor in when it comes to Tony voting?
As a immemorial?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think so in this case, but I never thought about it like that. It's possible.
Well,
I
we
think
did
what
have
Parade is so successful at is that it is so beautifully sung. I mean, the score, it's truly the best sung thing on Broadway right now. It's really moving.
We shall see.
Sorry, Ellen.
Oh, I was just saying because well, Company won post Sondheim's death, correct? So I
That's
don't know
right.
if Sweeney would
But
still have
that version of Company was the one with the twist where
Yeah.
Bobby was a woman.
Mhm.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
I say Sweeney is my favorite musical of all time. I can't wait to see it, but yeah, I
It's
don't know if
very
it
funny.
will.
I had friends say to me the other night, we were talking about shows. They said, we always come see you, Benita, but that show really bothered me. All the killing in a barber shop.
Oh, I mean, the direction is really it's really interesting. They make some very, very bizarre choices, but they're specific. So that is always appreciated. But a lot of the work is wonderful. The scope of the visuals of it is really great as well. And like I said, the performances are great. I stepped away from it being like, okay, that was a very nice big production of Sweeney Todd when I was hoping to get a little bit more than that.
And I heard that this is the first time Sweeney Todd has been around because it's had the original and the revival, and those were nominated for director. This time, it does not have a direction nomination.
Yes. There's been a lot of talk about direction for that because it's a big, beautiful production, but direction seems to be a little lost. I think they maybe got focused on choreography a little bit too much.
Interesting.
Should we look at Best Play Revival? Because we've got The Piano Lesson, A Doll's House, The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window, which there's a fun story how it came about, and Rachel Brosnahan from Mrs. Maisel fame is playing the lead in that, and Susan Laurie Park's Top Dog Underdog, which I'm not familiar with at all. Are you, Ellen?
Yeah, I love Top Dog Underdog. Actually, the Black Theater Troupe of New York recently did a production at Cap Rep of this, and it was phenomenal. So yeah, I unfortunately missed this revival on Broadway, but it's a great show.
I also missed it. There were several plays that closed at the end of 2022 that I missed, and this is one of them. Of these four, the only two I've seen are Piano Lesson and Doll's House. And I'm hoping to get to Sidney Brustein, but it won't happen by Sunday, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I really want to see it. In college, I designed a set for it and got an
A. Yay!
Oh, really? So someone else has done it. I've heard wonderful things about it. I just haven't been able to get to it. I think just from what I'm gathering from this category, however, it's a toss-up. I think this is a really interesting category, but I think Doll's House might have the edge. As somebody who absolutely loves Ibsen, and I'm very specific in Ibsen translations because his writing is so much about the subtext and understanding that. I think this translation really did that. It's very contemporary. Bare bones is not even the word for it. Like there's 3 chairs on the stage and people, and that's it.
And Jessica
It's
Chastain.
She is spectacular. And I honestly, I was very, very surprised and moved by it. I mean, we know she's a great actor, but her commitment to this version of the character. Do either of you plan to see it? Yes. Okay.
I have time.
Okay. Then I won't say anything more specific. I just think she's really, really spectacular in it.
Excellent.
So that's your pick, and Variety too. I'm just saying.
Yes. Top Dog could surprise me. Like I said, there's a lot of these categories. I don't know what's going to happen. Piano Lesson could surprise us too. I didn't love this production of it. There were some great performances, but a lot of people seem to have loved it, so it's possible. But I think what Doll's House has going for it right now, it's still running, and it's got momentum. And we always have to remember the things that are still running during voting time. Those are going to be a little bit easier because just they're on people's minds. Whereas Top Dog closed last year, so people might say, "Oh, it was good, but I don't remember." But I just saw Doll's House the other night. Things like that.
How about Best Actor Musical?
This is, I'm scrolling to it just so I'm not missing anybody. I think this is also a very complicated category. A few of my coworkers and I at work the other day were having a heated debate over who we think will win. I think it's going to be Jay Harrison Gee for Some Like It Hot. I think it should be. I think they are fantastic in this role. I was just really moved by them. A friend of mine at work was saying, "Oh, there's no way it's not going to be Josh Groban." Josh Groban is a beautiful singer. I will say that, and I'm not sure that
was my hesitation about Sweeney. I was like, does he have the grit? So, in your opinion, did you think
it's a different grit? I know you're a big fan of the show. It's just different. It's younger, and they have a little bit of a different approach. I also sat in the very back row of orchestra, and that house is massive. So I think that didn't help because it was hard to see some of the specific little bitty details of what was going on acting wise.
I was going to just jump in. Jay Harrison Gee is what one of the first or one of 2 non-binary performers to be nominated,
as well as Alex Newell from Shucked, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting of the future of the Tonys in terms of these gender identified categories. Do you guys think that there's going to be a change in actor actress, that terminology, or do you think it's going to stay this way and actors or anyone who has non-binary just selects which category they want to be considered for?
I think that's such a good conversation, and we could do a whole episode on that.
Okay, booked.
Yeah. I mean, it has to change at some point, right? What it's going to change to, who knows? But I think it has to at some point. I just think if you say, okay, best performers in a musical and 4 people win, and it's just all one category, or you can base it on the character rather than the performer. How is the character being portrayed? Is because the character Jay Harrison Gee in the play, at least originally, identifies as male, right? So there could be conversations about how to reformulate things that way, but who knows?
And in this is ostensibly or initially identifies as male,
right?
Yeah.
It's a great conversation, and I know the Broadway League has had it, so I'm just curious as to when they will make some chanes.
And there's been some writing that this could be the last year that we see categories by male and female.
Oh wow! As soon as that, you think?
So we'll see. So yeah, Adam, let's get you back on. Let's 360 this. In the meantime,
I'd love to. Yeah,
I was going to say another fun little tidbit about this actor in the leading role that we've got Christian Borle, Josh Groban, and Ben Platt went against each other a few years ago, and now they're all back in the same category. So when they did Dear Evan Hansen,
Great
Something
Comet.
Rotten, and Great Comet, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I will also say Ben Platt has a big chance at this too because he's spectacular in that role as well.
And it's a real change for him. You know, he's become a grown-up in the eyes of Broadway from being a teen. And look, we know he got slammed for playing the Dear Evan Hansen role on screen.
Mhm.
You know, you're too old. Well, okay, fine. Let's leave that behind us, and now let's stand up among the adults.
That's a great point. I didn't even think of it like that, but yes, he's a full-on adult in this.
Yeah.
And sounds beautiful and is doing some really deep work. And what I always appreciate about him, no matter how many times you see him perform, he is always giving it 120%. He never phones it in. And a lot of actors can do that. I've never seen him do that.
Yeah.
Best actor in a play. We've got Top Dog Underdog, Yahya Abdul Mateen, Corey Hawkins, also same show. Goodnight Oscar, Sean Hayes, Stephen McKinley Henderson, for Between Riverside and Crazy, and Wendell Pierce, Death of a Salesman. How do you pick?
This is a really interesting category too. This is one of the ones I only saw Goodnight Oscar, and I saw it last night. The other plays I missed all of them. So personally, just from reading other people's predictions and reviews and so forth, I think it's really difficult. But I think it could be between Stephen McKinley Henderson, Wendell Pierce, and Sean Hayes. That I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. My gut is Stephen McKinley Henderson, but Sean Hayes has gotten lots of raves, and he seems to be a front runner as well, and won other awards for this. And he was great last night. And I think what really helps him is he plays a concerto for several minutes on stage live, and it is beautiful. And the whole time I was like, he's not playing that. He can't be playing that. He played it, and it was great. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here.
Best Actress Musical. We've got Annalee Ashford for Sweeney Todd, who I think, is she leaving now?
No, what is his? Jordan Fisher announced his departure, but
Sarah Bareilles for Into the Woods, Victoria Clark, Kimberly Akimbo, Lorna Courtney, and Juliet, and Michaela Diamond for Parade.
Hard category. Every single one of them is brilliant. They're all great. I think Victoria Clark has the edge on this, and it's hard because Kimberly Akimbo has already been a thing in New York. This is its first take on Broadway, obviously. So it won a bunch of awards previously. So it's not being counted into the Drama Desk and all the other awards that have happened, and we're kind of forgetting about it. Like Some Like It Hot took home lots of awards, but Kimberly Akimbo was not a part of, wasn't eligible for those. Just to throw that out there. And Victoria Clark she's wonderful. It's really beautiful, but a lot of people, a friend of mine at work, we were just arguing over this the other day again. She was like, oh, it's Annalee Ashford. I don't think so, but who knows? But it could be somebody else. But I think Victoria, the character just has a lot more range and depth available just material wise on stage, and she brings it every time, and it's spectacular.
Before we move on to Best Actress in a Play, which is going to be an interesting discussion, Ellen, we should probably remind our listeners about our sponsor today.
Yes, so go see The Mother Effer with the Hat. It's a Harbinger production done at Albany Civic Theater, running from the 16th through the 25th of June. Struggles with addiction, friendship, love, and the challenges of adulthood are the center of the story. Jackie, a petty drug dealer, is just out of prison and trying to stay clean. He's also in love with his coke-addicted childhood sweetheart, Veronica. Ralph D is Jackie's too smooth, slightly slippery sponsor. He's married to the bitter and disaffected Victoria, who, by the way, has the hots for Jackie. And then there's Hula Julio, Jackie's cousin, a stand-up, stand by me kind of guy. So it's got a lot of fun stuff in there. And getting back to our awards, let's see. We left off Best Actress in a Play. Let me make sure I get to the right place. Yes, so we've got Jessica Chastain for Doll's House, Jodie Comer for Prima Facie, Jessica Hecht for Summer 1976, and Audra McDonald, Ohio State Murders, which I
And
think
to point
makes
out
her...
that with the bad weather, the bad air, Jodie Comer stopped the show.
Yeah, Wednesday
earlier.
afternoon.
Yeah, in the week. Couldn't breathe, felt bad, said, we're done.
A couple shows canceled, right?
Yeah.
Because of the
Yeah,
air
that
quality.
night, Camelot and Hamilton.
Wow. So
This category. Oh, go ahead, Ellen.
I was gonna say you love Jessica Chastain. Do you think that?
I love her, but I don't think she'll take this. I think it'll be Jodie Comer. They're both giving excellent performances. Jessica Chastain's is much simpler, quieter. I mean, she barely leaves a chair for the whole show, so it's very intimate. Jodie Comer is putting everything she has. It's a one-woman show, so I think there's that momentum too behind it, that she's carrying this whole show entirely, and the content is it's very difficult. It's very raw and intense, and I think just momentum of it coming from the West End too. I think she'll take it. It's great. It was one of those shows that it ended, and I was with a friend of mine, and it was just kind of sitting silent for a little bit, and you just kind of had to let it settle. And I don't think we talked about it for a couple of days because we just kind of had to like let it settle. So it's while the play itself is not the best play, which I find very interesting, it wasn't nominated for best play. It's just her performance is a lot, and it's wonderful. All four of them are spectacular actors, as we know.
Yeah.
I did not see Summer 1976, but Audra always is Audra, so you know it's always going to be good. And she also gave this really raw, intense, emotional performance. I only say Jodie because it is a one-woman show, and so that's going to give people a little bit like, oh, she's carrying it all entirely on her own. So
Best featured actor in a musical. Who do you like?
It's who I like and who I think it's going to be are different questions. Oh wait, no, you said actress, right?
I said best featured actor in a musical.
Oh, actor. Okay, yes.
And right now we still have those categories.
Right. I think it will be Alex Newell for Shucked. That will win because they've got a lot of momentum behind them. Personally, it was not my favorite performance. It was just kind of missing some depth, in my opinion. I would love to see it go to Justin Cooley and Kimberly Akimbo because it's just so good. He's just so sweet and pure and human, and it's a really simple, beautiful performance. So this one could be a surprise, but I think most likely it'll be Alex Newell just based on momentum.
For best featured actress in a musical.
Also based on momentum, Bonnie Milligan. Oh, sorry, you wanted to list them.
No, it's Julia Lester, Into the Woods, Ruthie Ann Miles, Sweeney Todd, Bonnie Milligan, Kimberly Akimbo, Natasha Williams, Some Like It Hot, Betsy Wolfe, and Juliet.
All great performances. I think Bonnie Milligan is going to get it just based on momentum as well. She's great. She's hilarious in it. I think there's an element of she is kind of owed to Tony when she lost several years back for Head Over Heels. I forget who beat her that year, but she's wonderful. Personally, I would give it to Ruthie Ann Miles because her take on Beggar Woman from Sweeney gave me chills, and she's Ellen, you know the show so well. That character's not on stage that much, but every time she came on, I was mesmerized. The specificity of her choices are beautiful. And there's also something really heartbreaking. I don't know if you recall, but Ruthie Ann Miles, there was that accident several years ago, and she lost her baby, and just went through a very traumatic time. So there's something about Beggar Woman and what she went through personally, losing their child, and there's something tied in there that she's just giving everything she has, and she always does. Um, that's where I would like it to go, but I have a feeling it'll be Bonnie Milligan, who is also deserving. All of them are, honestly. All of them will give great performances.
Featured actor in a play. Let's see. Where is that?
Actress, right? Worked a featured actress in a play.
Actress in a play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got Nikki Crawford in Fat Ham, Krista Lucas Perry, Ain't No Mo, Miriam Silverman in Sign and Sidney Bruce Jean's Window, Katie Sullivan, Cost of Living, also Carrie Young in Cost of Living. I always hate when two performers are head to head for the same award.
It's weird, isn't it? But it tells you the show did something right. You know, that I have no idea what's going to happen in this one. I'm just no idea.
Just throw a dart.
I mean, honestly, personally, well, I only saw Ain't No Mo and Fat Ham of these plays. I love Nikki Crawford. I think her contemporary version of Gertrude essentially is brilliant. She gives, it's just a brilliant, exciting performance. Crystal Lucas Perry was also great in Ain't No Mo. But I'm getting a lot of momentum for Miriam Silverman. I've heard she's great. I haven't seen it yet. But it could be Katie Sullivan or Carrie Young. So who knows? Next.
Featured actor in a role: Jordan Cooper, Ain't No Mo; Samuel Jackson, Piano Lesson; Arian Moayed, Doll's House; Brandon Ronowitz, Leopoldstadt; and David Zayas, Cost of Living.
I think it's going to be Brandon. He's been nominated for several Tonys now, and I think it's his time. And while the play wasn't my favorite all around, the final scene really is in his hands, and it's by far the best part of the show and really wonderful. Jordan E. Cooper could surprise us because he was also absolutely brilliant in that play.
Now we're down to 3 minutes left, unfortunately. Is there a category, Adam, that you have that we haven't covered yet that you have some strong thoughts on? We've got direction or choreography or.
We could do direction. That's always fun. Direction of a musical.
Yeah. So we got Parade, Into the Woods, Some Like It Hot, Shucked, and Kimberly Akimbo.
I think it's going to go Michael Arden for Parade. It could also be Casey Nicholaw for Some Like It Hot. It's an interesting category because Into the Woods, we discussed this a little bit already. It's a great show to start with. What made that show so successful were the performances, I think. The nuance of those performances with the material, it was just wonderful. I don't think there was much direction, and the director for Into the Woods, I have recently been failed by multiple times. There were a couple shows I've seen recently directed by this person, and they've been very, very lackluster. So I'm very intrigued as to why they were nominated. I'm trying not to be rude, I promise, but I was just very surprised by this nomination. That being said, Michael Arden it's really beautiful direction. So that's where I think it's going to go, but we could be surprised otherwise. And Jack O'Brien is a staple. He knows comedy. Shucked is, and we haven't talked about Shucked. It's hilarious. I've heard. An original musical comedy. It is stupid. You're going to roll your eyes. It's those, you're going to have a joke that it hits and then it takes a second and then you laugh and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm laughing at this. But it's so refreshing and so fun. And I know I haven't said it's going to win anything. It could surprise us.
I got to jump in. We got a minute. Best musical, yes. Best play. Who wins?
Best musical, Kimberly Akimbo. Best play, Leopoldstadt.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
I am thrilled that this year you do not have to download Paramount Plus to watch it. I've run out of free
Yes.
trials. So yeah, if you want to check out the pre-Tony stuff is on Pluto, which is the free streaming service you don't even have to sign up for. Yay. And then CBS is covering the actual Tony Awards, or you can watch it on Paramount Plus if you have it. So that is
And listen, everybody, let us know if you agree, disagree. Send us some messages on our Facebook or our Insta account. And let us know if you're dressing up also.
And go check out Mother Effer with a Hat at Albany Civic through Harbinger Theater, opening on the 15th. Thank you so much, Adam. It's always a joy to have you here and hear all your
Thank
thoughts.
you.
And for our
Thank you
listeners,
so much.
I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything, everything, everything.